Being too good does not always make people love you better. Sometimes it teaches them that your time, your energy, your attention, and your peace can be taken without consequence. You may think you are being generous, patient, loyal, and understanding, but if your kindness has no boundaries, the wrong people will confuse it with permission. They will call you only when they need something. They will expect you to say yes before asking how you feel. They will drain you, disappoint you, and still make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. This is where emotional intelligence becomes freedom. It teaches you that having a good heart does not mean becoming easy to use. You can be kind without being available to everyone. You can love without abandoning yourself. You can help without becoming a resource that others consume. The day you stop being useful to everyone is the day you begin becoming loyal to yourself. The first lesson is that goodness without boundaries becomes dangerous, not because kindness is wrong, but because unlimited access teaches people that your energy has no cost. When you are always available, always forgiving, always understanding, and always ready to help, people may stop seeing your effort as a gift. They begin to treat it like something they are owed. This is how a good heart slowly becomes exhausted. You say yes when your body wants rest. You listen when your mind is already full. You carry problems that are not yours. You answer messages while your own needs stay ignored, and because you call it love, duty, or generosity, you do not notice that you are disappearing inside the role of being useful. The intelligent shift is to separate kindness from self-erasure. You can help, but not at the cost of your health. You can support, but not while abandoning your peace. You can be generous, but not with people who only take and never care how much they are taking. Real goodness needs a spine. Without boundaries, your kindness becomes a door that never closes. People often learn your limits by testing them. Sometimes they do it consciously. Sometimes, without realizing it, they ask for more time, more favors, more attention, more patience, and more forgiveness. If you keep giving without resistance, they learn that your discomfort is not enough to make you stop. Your silence becomes the lesson they study. This is why resentment grows in people who never speak honestly. Outside, they smile. Inside, they feel used. They keep saying yes, then secretly wonder why no one notices their sacrifice. But people cannot respect a limit you never show. They cannot understand a no you never say. If your boundary only exists in your head, the world will keep walking over it. The practical move is to stop rewarding behavior that drains you. If someone keeps asking for more than you can give, reduce access. If someone only appears when they need something, stop treating their urgency like your emergency. If someone ignores your limits, make the limit visible through action. People learn your value when you stop making your exhaustion convenient for them. Many kind people are not trapped by love. They are trapped by the fear of looking selfish. They want to say no, but the moment they imagine someone being disappointed, their body tightens. Their mind starts building excuses, their heart starts negotiating. They would rather betray their own needs than risk being seen as cold, difficult, or uncaring. This fear did not appear from nowhere. Many people were trained to believe that love must be earned through usefulness. Be easy, be helpful, be quiet, do not disappoint, do not make things difficult. Over time, they learned that being needed felt safer than being honest. So even as adults, they keep performing goodness while their real self stays locked away. Emotional intelligence begins when you understand that someone else's disappointment is not always proof that you did something wrong. Sometimes it only means you stopped being convenient. Sometimes it means you finally protected what they were used to accessing. You can feel guilt and still choose wisely. You can be uncomfortable and still do what self-respect requires. Guilt is one of the strongest chains that keeps good people available to the wrong people. The moment they say no, they feel like they committed a crime. They replay the conversation, imagine the other person judging them, and wonder if they should go back and fix everything. But guilt is not always wisdom. Sometimes guilt is old conditioning trying to regain control. Healthy guilt appears when you truly violate your values. It asks you to repair, apologize, and grow. But toxic guilt appears when you simply stop sacrificing yourself. It shows up when you rest instead of rescuing, when you choose your own stability, when you refuse to carry another adult's consequences. That guilt does not mean you are cruel. It means your old pattern is being challenged. The shift is to let guilt exist without obeying it. Feel the discomfort. Name it. Breathe through it. Then ask yourself whether you violated your principles or only disappointed someone who expected unlimited access. This question gives you power. It separates real responsibility from emotional programming, and once you can feel guilt without surrendering, you become much harder to use. Some people are drawn to unprotected kindness because they can sense where the door is open. They notice who replies quickly, who apologizes too much, who explains every boundary, and who feels guilty for needing space. They may not always be evil, but they are used to taking, and if your kindness has no filter, they will keep entering your life to drain it. These people can appear in many forms. The chronic victim who always needs rescue. The critic who hides judgment behind concern. The friend who is never available when you need help, but expects you to answer every crisis. The manipulator who uses guilt to make your boundary look like betrayal. Each one feeds on your fear of saying no. The intelligent response is not hatred, it is recognition. Stop explaining your humanity to people who benefit from your exhaustion. Stop trying to convince someone that your limit is valid. A clear boundary does not need a courtroom, it needs consistency. When emotional vampires realize your yes is no longer automatic, many of them leave. And that is not loss, that is freedom. One of the hardest truths to accept is that not every yes is generous. Some yeses are born from love, but many are born from fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of being called selfish, fear of disappointing someone, fear of losing the image of being the good person. When your yes comes from fear, it may look kind on the outside, but inside it slowly builds resentment. This is why people who give too much often become bitter without understanding why. They keep helping, smiling, answering, supporting, and sacrificing, but their heart is no longer calm. They feel heavy because their kindness is not free anymore. It is being used to buy acceptance, avoid conflict, and silence the fear that they are only valuable when they are useful. The intelligent shift is to ask yourself why you are saying yes. Is this love, or is this fear? Is this choice, or is this pressure? Is this generosity, or is this self-abandonment dressed as virtue? A clean yes gives without secretly bleeding. A fearful yes gives while quietly losing respect for itself. Emotional intelligence begins when your yes becomes honest. Being too good does not only affect your emotions, it also affects your body. Every swallowed no, every hidden frustration, every forced smile, and every favor you give while exhausted leaves a mark. You may think you are keeping peace, but your body knows when you are betraying yourself. It records the tension your mouth refuses to speak. This can show up as headaches, poor sleep, tight shoulders, stomach problems, anxiety, or a constant tiredness you cannot explain. You may tell yourself you're fine, but your body starts telling the truth for you. It carries the cost of every conversation where you stayed silent, every relationship where you overgave, and every moment where you chose approval over honesty. The practical shift is to listen before your body has to scream. Notice where your chest tightens. Notice who leaves you drained. Notice which yes makes you feel smaller. Your body is not trying to betray you, it is trying to warn you. Emotional intelligence means hearing the alarm before your health becomes the final message. When you begin setting boundaries, not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some people will get angry, offended, distant, or cold. At first, this may scare you because it confirms your old fear that saying no will make people leave. But look more closely. The people who rage against your limits often reveal how much they benefited from you having none. Healthy people may feel disappointed, but they can still respect your boundary. Manipulative people turn your boundary into an attack. They accuse you, guilt you, mock you, pressure you, or act wounded so you will return to the old version of yourself. They are not fighting for connection, they are fighting for access. The intelligent response is not to panic when someone dislikes your boundary. Their reaction gives you information. If they respect it, the relationship has room to become healthier. If they punish you for it, the relationship was already unsafe. A boundary does not create the problem. It reveals the problem that your silence was hiding. Another lesson is that compassion is not the same as rescuing. You can care about someone and still refuse to carry the consequences of their repeated choices. If someone keeps creating the same crisis and you keep saving them, you may believe you are helping, but sometimes you're only protecting them from the lessons their life is trying to teach. This is difficult for good people because they feel cruel when they stop rescuing. But allowing someone to face reality is not cruelty. Sometimes it is respect. It says, "I believe you are capable of solving your own life. I will not abandon my stability to protect you from growth. I can care about you without becoming responsible for every problem you refuse to change." The intelligent shift is to ask whether your help creates strength or dependence. Does it help the person grow, or does it keep the same pattern alive? Does it come from love or from your need to feel needed? Real compassion does not make you a permanent solution to someone else's irresponsibility. It helps without becoming a cage. Many people weaken their no by turning it into a long defense. They explain every reason, apologize several times, and leave the door open for negotiation. They think this makes the no kinder, but often it makes the no easier to attack. The more reasons you give, the more material someone has to debate, pressure, or dismantle. A clear no is calm, simple, and complete. "I will not be able to do that. That does not work for me. I cannot help with this." These sentences may feel too short when you are used to over-explaining, but that is exactly why they are powerful. They do not beg to be accepted. They stand on their own. The practical move is to repeat the boundary without adding new explanations. "I understand this is inconvenient, but I cannot do it. I know you hoped I would say yes, but my answer is no." This protects you from being pulled into emotional negotiation. A boundary repeated calmly is stronger than a boundary buried under excuses. One of the most dangerous ideas kind people learn is that love must always look like sacrifice. They believe that if they suffer enough, give enough, forgive enough, and stay available enough, they are proving how good they are. But love that constantly requires you to disappear is not love becoming deeper. It is self-abandonment wearing a beautiful name. This pattern becomes painful because people start praising your exhaustion instead of protecting you from it. They call you strong because you never complain. They call you generous because you always give. They call you reliable because you never say no. But sometimes, the compliments are only another way of keeping you inside a role that is slowly draining your life. The intelligent shift is to stop measuring love by how much of yourself you lose. Real love does not need you destroyed to prove it is real. Real goodness does not require you to become empty so someone else can feel full. You can care deeply and still remain whole. You can show up for others without abandoning the person you are responsible for first. An automatic yes may feel harmless in the moment, but it trains the wrong people to expect access. They learn that if they pressure you enough, you will adjust. If they guilt you enough, you will bend. If they create enough urgency, you will drop your own priorities. Slowly, your life becomes easier for them and heavier for you. This is why people who use your kindness rarely ask whether you have energy left. Their focus is not your balance. Their focus is what they can extract. They may not say it directly, but their behavior makes it clear. They appear when they need something, disappear when you need support, and return when your usefulness becomes convenient again. The practical move is to pause before every yes. Ask whether you're choosing or obeying. Ask whether this request respects your time, energy, and peace. Ask whether the person would show the same care for you. This pause breaks the automatic pattern. It gives your intelligence time to arrive before fear takes control. Emotional intelligence begins in the space between pressure and response. Someone asks for something, and the old version of you wants to answer immediately. It wants to say yes before discomfort appears. It wants to escape guilt, conflict, and disappointment. But the wiser part of you knows that speed is often where self-betrayal hides. Reacting means obeying the first emotion that rises. Responding means noticing the emotion, respecting the signal, and still choosing with clarity. You may feel guilt and still say no. You may feel fear and still protect your peace. You may feel sadness and still refuse to return to an old pattern that keeps damaging you. The intelligent person does not become emotionless. He becomes less controlled by emotion. He learns to breathe before deciding, question before agreeing, and observe before accepting guilt as truth. This is freedom in practice, not the freedom to ignore others, but the freedom to stop being pushed around by every uncomfortable feeling. Every time you say yes from fear, you are not only affecting today, you're shaping the life your future self will have to live inside. One small unwanted favor may seem harmless. One ignored boundary may seem easier than conflict. One swallowed truth may seem like peace. But repeated over months and years, Those small betrayals become a life that no longer feels like yours. This is why you must think beyond the immediate discomfort. In the moment, saying yes may feel easier. It reduces tension quickly. It avoids the disappointed face. It protects the image of being nice, but later you carry the cost in your body, your mood, your relationships, and your self-respect. The easy answer now often becomes the heavy burden later. The practical question is simple. 1 year from now, will I be proud of the decision I'm about to make? This question pulls you out of panic and places you in perspective. It reminds you that your life is built from small choices. Every boundary you honor today becomes evidence that you can trust yourself tomorrow. Boundaries do not only protect you, they reveal people. When you stop being endlessly available, some relationships become stronger because they were built on genuine respect. Other relationships begin to collapse because they were built on your silence, your guilt, your fear, and your usefulness. That collapse may hurt, but it is also information. The people who value you will adjust. They may need time, but they will learn your new rhythm. They will respect your no. They will not require you to bleed emotionally to prove you care. But the people who only valued your availability will resist. They may accuse, pressure, shame, or disappear because the old benefit is gone. This is why losing some connections can actually be part of becoming free. You are not losing everyone. You are losing the people who needed you to stay unprotected. You are making room for relationships where giving feels clean. Support goes both ways, and love does not require self-erasure. A smaller circle with honesty is better than a crowded life built on exhaustion. When you have spent years being the helpful one, the available one, the strong one, and the one who never disappoints, changing can feel like losing yourself. But the truth is, you were never only useful. You were never created to be an emergency contact for everyone else's life. Under the habit of serving, there is a real person with desires, preferences, dreams, and needs that have been waiting quietly. This is why the transition can feel empty at first. When you stop filling every space with other people's problems, you may not know what to do with the silence. You may ask yourself what you enjoy, what you want, what matters to you, and feel no clear answer. That does not mean you are empty. It means your own voice has been buried under years of obligation. The intelligent shift is to explore yourself again without needing a purpose for everyone else. Read because you want to read. Rest because your body asks for rest. Walk because your mind needs space. Build something that belongs to you. Your identity becomes stronger when it is not built only around what you provide. You are not here just to be needed. You are here to live. Real kindness does not come from panic, guilt, or fear of rejection. It comes from choice. When you help because you truly want to, the act feels clean. When you help because you're afraid of what someone will think if you refuse, the act becomes heavy. The same behavior can come from freedom or from fear, and the difference changes everything inside you. This is why emotional intelligence does not make you selfish. It makes your generosity honest. You still give, but you know why. You still support, but you do not disappear. You still love, but you do not confuse love with being endlessly consumed. When kindness becomes chosen, it stops creating resentment and starts creating peace. The practical question is simple. Am I giving from love, or am I giving from fear? If the answer is love, give with clarity. If the answer is fear, pause before you abandon yourself again. A kind person with wisdom knows that the right yes can be beautiful, but the wrong yes can become a quiet form of self-betrayal. If you want to stop being used, you must learn to survive the discomfort of disappointing people. That discomfort will feel dangerous at first. Your chest may tighten. Your mind may rush to fix the moment. You may want to explain, apologize, or take the boundary back. But discomfort is not always a warning. Sometimes it is the feeling of a new skill being born. The old version of you believes that disappointment must be repaired immediately. But not every disappointment is your responsibility. People are allowed to feel frustrated when they do not get what they want. That does not mean you were wrong. It means reality did not bend around their preference. Your job is not to remove every uncomfortable feeling from every room. The intelligent move is to breathe through the moment without surrendering your limit. Let the other person react. Let the silence exist. Let your body learn that no disaster happens when you choose yourself. Every time you hold a healthy boundary through discomfort, your nervous system learns freedom. You become less controlled by guilt and more guided by self-respect. Before you answer a request, give yourself one pause and ask 3 questions. First, if this person told me no in the same situation, would I still respect them? Most of the time, the answer is yes. That reveals the double standard. You allow others to protect themselves, but you treat your own limit like betrayal. Second, ask what emotion you're trying to avoid by saying yes. Is it guilt, fear, anxiety, rejection, conflict, or the discomfort of being misunderstood? Naming the emotion gives you distance from it. You stop being dragged by a feeling you never examined. You can feel fear and still choose integrity. You can feel guilt and still protect your peace. Third, ask whether your future self will be proud of the decision you're about to make. This question pulls you out of the pressure of the moment. It reminds you that your life is built by small choices. If the yes will create resentment, exhaustion, or self-betrayal, the answer is already clear. Your future self needs your courage today. Emotional intelligence sets you free because it gives your kindness direction. You stop giving automatically and start giving consciously. You stop saying yes to avoid guilt and start saying yes when your heart is clear. You stop calling self-abandonment love. You stop calling exhaustion virtue. You stop calling manipulation someone else's need. This freedom changes your relationships. Some people will leave because they only knew how to receive from you. Some will resist because your old availability benefited them. But the people who truly value you will respect the new version. They will understand that your no makes your yes more honest. They will feel safer with a person who gives by choice, not fear. The final lesson is this: being intelligent does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming clear. You can have a soft heart and strong limits. You can be generous and selective. You can love people and still refuse to be consumed by them. When you stop being useful to everyone, you do not become less good. You become more real, more peaceful, and finally free. Why does being too good make people use you? Because kindness without boundaries becomes access. Because an automatic yes teaches people they can take without asking what it cost you. Because guilt can make you betray yourself while calling it love. Because some people do not want your heart. They want your availability, your energy, your silence, and your fear of disappointing them. But emotional intelligence sets you free. It teaches you to pause before reacting, to separate healthy guilt from old programming, to recognize emotional vampires, to say no without building a courtroom around it, and to give from choice instead of fear. You do not need to become cruel to protect yourself. You need to become clear. The people who truly love you will respect your limits. The people who only loved your usefulness will reveal themselves, and that revelation is not a loss, it is freedom. So start today. Ask the 3 questions, hold the boundary, let the guilt pass, choose your peace. Because the moment you stop being available to everyone, your life finally becomes available to you.